Today on the Topic Show, Trump posts a viral video of George Clooney firing Joe Biden, Elon on the House passing the SAVE Act, a Michigan governor signs a bill to prohibit election recounts, Caitlin Clark signs a multi-year contract deal with Wilson, Costco raises their membership prices for the first time since 2017, PepsiCo misses their earning expectations, Tesla stock is up 44% in the past month, and Schruumz recall is expanding to now include children who are affected by the product. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Guys, he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, to celebrate the 4th of July all month, we're giving away a free 50 caliber musket or flintlock pistol with every IT purchase. Go to toppingtechnologies.com to learn more. Lastly, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, Costco is raising their prices for their membership for the first time since 2017, but it actually should be much more. Now this is first brought to my attention thanks to CNBC, specifically Melissa, who's a writer over there, and she notes that, quote, Costco hikes their membership fee for the first time since 2017. They note that, apologies, the membership-based warehouse club said they will increase its membership fee by $5 in the US and Canada starting September 1. That is an increase to $65 from $60 for the annual membership. Its higher tier plan called executive membership, which does sound high class, that's fancy. That will increase to $130 a year, increasing from $120. Costco said the fee increase would affect about 52 million memberships, a little over half of which are executive memberships. This actually helped the stock of the company increase about 2% of the announcement. They say that on average, the company has raised rates roughly every 5 years or every 5.5 years, which would have put Costco on track to raise the fee late 2022 or early 2023. However, Costco held off on raising prices or fees the year prior. In an interview with CNBC, CEO Craig Jelinek previously said, quote, it was not the right time as consumers dealt with high inflation. The company's now former chief financial officer, Richard Galante, made similar comments on prior earnings calls. Now, granted, for those who don't know the business model of Costco and the value that they bring, they make all their money off the membership fees. The food is, or the products that they sell there is basically cost plus a little bit just to pay for some employees. The only profit really comes from the membership fees. That's how important for the company to actually check your ID at the door, so you know you're actually a Costco member. Otherwise, they quite literally are losing money when you just sneak in and buy stuff. Now, they say that its rival Walmart, which again owns Sam's Club, hiked its membership fee in 2022 for the first time in 9 years. They say yet, even after the fee bump, a Sam's Club membership is cheaper at $50 a month for club members and $110 for members of this high tier plus level. At BJ's Wholesale, their fees are $55 for regular and $110 for club members of the higher tier. Which, again, it sounds bad. However, they're actually this is not great for Costco. They should raise it more. I say that because thanks to ineptitudes of Republicans and Democrats, we have hyperinflation in the United States. So if we just go to one of my favorite websites, which, I mean, I probably account for 18% of their web traffic this year. I mean, I find it fascinating how the government steals from us with inflation. Now, again, this is the first time they're raising it since 2017. In 2017, plug in the calculator, $60 in 2017 correlates to, now dollars, $77.63. So if anything, they should be charging more than a $5 increase to get to $65, which is the new entry price point for the Costco membership. So, I mean, really, they should be raising it a lot more. And going to the actual, what was the tier for the VIP XY Banana Falcon? The executive membership was at 110. Let me pull it up there really quick. So the new price, it was at 120. So if you just plug that into the inflation calculator, $120 in 2017, it translates to $155.25 in 2024 BS dollars, which, again, they're only raising it from 120 to 130. So, I mean, it's an increase, yes, but if anything, I think you could argue the increase should be greater because inflation is so bad. I'm actually surprised it's not more. Granted, I'm not like a shareholder of Costco. I mean, it really doesn't affect me either way. But I mean, I know a lot of folks who rely on Costco for a living, and there are also people who have their 401ks. They're invested in the company, so they want to make a profit as well. And given the economy, I can't help but think places like Sam's Club and Costco are going to increase again. Not financial advice, but I know more and more people shopping there, partially because again you get the great discount of buying goods in bulk, which again one of the biggest value drivers of going to those places. So I think they're going to increase in popularity this year, and yeah, I mean, both companies really only raised prices on the membership only, 5 to 6 years. And Lord only knows how much worse inflation could get in the United States. Hopefully they don't have to raise it again. But, and I mean, of course, Costco has great marketing. They sell that $1.50 hot dog drink combo, which has become a thing of legend. But let me know in the comments, do you think this will actually deter anyone from signing up for Costco? Or do you think people will actually stop shopping at Costco because of this? Personally, I don't think there's a high propensity of that happening. Because again, you still get an overwhelming amount of value. There's all the access of products and goods that you can purchase there. And competitors are also increasing their membership fees. And I mean, I'm not sure what the strategy of a Walmart is, but in terms of Sam's Club, they were popular where I lived. Again, I grew up in the Midwest. There seem to be more Sam's Club closer to where you lived. But I mean, now that I'm in the great country, or somebody debate the great state of Texas, or some people actually pronounce it Texas, oddly enough. I mean, you can't throw a brick out the window without hitting Costco, which would still not be probably not a recommended idea, even though you could probably buy a 10-pack of windows at Costco. But I partially digress. Do you know anyone who might cancel the membership, or will you yourself cancel? Let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have PepsiCo missing their earning expectations as consumers pull back. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Yahoo Finance, which was the OG original search engine back in the day before Google took over. Well, granted, I still use Brave. Now, this is from Bloomberg. They say, quote, PepsiCo sales disappoint as U.S. consumers cut back on snacks. Now, fact check, there is also a great amount of air in those bags of chips. Not just food. It's like a 50-50 split, maybe. And here you see the picture of the new PepsiCo logo, which, I'm not a fan of most logo updates. The font is a little bit more bold. So it's slightly different. So I can't help but feel bad for shareholders because they probably spent millions of dollars on that new logo design. But nevertheless, now they say, quote, PepsiCo reported a weaker than expected revenue growth as its snack food business was hurt by increasingly budget-focused shoppers and a recent Quaker Foods recall. Again, PepsiCo is PepsiCo. They own Frito-Lay, which is over 50% of the salty snack aisle. Yeah, you can't throw a Dorito or a chip or anything down that aisle without hitting a PepsiCo product. They say that, quote, the maker of Dorito chips and Mountain Dew sodas, which I don't think they were trying to write this for Halo enthusiasts or gamers. However, that does stir some old memories of good old physical system links with the Xbox, but I partially digress. They said that their organic revenue rose 1.4% in the second quarter, missing the 2.9% average estimate of analysts surveyed by Bloomberg. The volume of food products sold in that period was down 2% from a year earlier, including steeper drops from Frito-Lay and Quaker food businesses in North America. They said, quote, as years of price increases and sales growth, PepsiCo U.S. business is struggling. Persistent inflation has forced many shoppers to cut back on spending and switch to cheaper supermarket-owned brands. The salty snack category has been particularly lackluster as consumers focus on nutrition and affordability, which, yes, PepsiCo products are 110% a luxury product that no one needs. Granted, I would also argue for your health, probably not recommended. If I had to pick one PepsiCo product, I mean, it's hard to beat Pepsi, a real Pepsi. I say the real one. The one made in Mexico where they actually have these glass bottles and real sugar cane, not, high fructose corn syrup. I mean, so that probably is my favorite one, which again, that's probably every other 2 years I have one of those. It's a rare luxury. Now, CEO Raymond Garda said, quote, in the U.S., there's clearly a consumer that is more challenged. He added that the pressures of Frito-Lay were, quote, pressures of Frito-Lay specifically, an issue of value and not an issue of anything else, and that weight loss drugs are not having an impact thus far. Now, geez Louise, it looks like PepsiCo shares fell about 3.4%. The news of this, stock has fallen 13% in the past 12 months, compared to the 12% gain in the S&P 500 Consumer Staples Index and a 5.9% gain in rivals such as Coca-Cola. Now, it looks like in North America, PepsiCo volumes fell in both food and beverages. The company remained impacted by a large recall of Quaker Oats cereal bars, and snacks that began last year. Volume was down 17% in the Quaker Oats divisions from a year ago. So things are not looking great at PepsiCo. And again, everyone is challenging. Oh, I should say, darn near everyone is feeling the impact of a rough economy and hyperinflation in the United States. And again, it's one of those things where during good times, it's great to own these types of businesses, but during hard times, the easiest thing you can cut from your budget is junk food. There's 0% need for it. And again, when it comes to cutting a budget in general in this rough economy, and my parents told me this a lot as a kid, the number one category that you can control and decrease the cost is the food that you purchase. Most of the things that we pay for in life have moderately fixed rates. I mean, just think about car insurance, apartment rental, car payments, cell phone payments. A lot of those are usually fixed for, I would say, a good industry average, maybe a 12-month contract. So it's hard to, cut down on your monthly budget. However, food, most Americans, I would think, probably shop once a week. Personally, I'm more of a 2 to 3 times every other, maybe 2 times or 3 times a month. But it's one of the few areas you can quickly control your budget and decrease it. And again, not only is there overwhelmingly a lack of nutrition with many PepsiCo products, but it's a fun novelty no one needs. So I think during this year, especially as consumers become more price focused, more budget conscientious, again, not financial advice about the stock or anything, I think they're going to be especially pressured to think, well, do I really need that extra bottle of high fructose corn syrup in a can or in a plastic bottle? Do I really need that? Do I really need that bag of mostly air with a couple chips and some flavor dusted on there? Do I really need that? Probably not. I mean, personally, I think I bought like every 3 or 4 months, I'll buy a couple sodas to throw in the fridge for podcast interviewees. I mean, personally, it is the easiest thing to cut for me. I'm also health nut, so I haven't bought this stuff in years. But let me know in the comments. Do you think the year will actually get better for companies like PepsiCo? As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news: Tesla stock up 44% in the past month, and Goldman's actually lifts their target price. All while at the same time, this is the first time that Tesla actually dropped in terms of, they used to have well over 50% in the market in terms of new EV car sales in the US. But they actually recently are below that because, again, rivals such as Ford, GM, BMW, and Hyundai, Kia, actually, especially, they're rapidly increasing their market share. Many of them also have a lot of recalls, but nevertheless, they are increasing the volume of units sold and will someday make a profit, in theory. I think Ford lost $132,000 per EV Q2. They lost even more Q1, but they're moving in the right direction. Time to tell. But going back to good old Tesla, and again, not financial advice, shoot, if I was a brilliant statistician or knew the stock market that well, I would have bought this, months ago and made a huge, huge profit. Now, again, they say, quote, Tesla stock rises for the 11th straight session as Goldman's lifts price target. Which, again, there's a little Tesla supercharger logos there. And then just going for we'll talk about the stock price pretty quick. In terms of the past 5 years, Jesus Louise. Granted, of course, hindsight's 2020. It's currently trading. Granted, by the time this video is rendered and uploaded to the internet, price will be different. That's what the stock market does. Currently trading for $246.85 per share, with a market cap of $773 billion and no dividends. So that turns off a lot of prospective investors. Now, that's past 5 year. Past 1 year, it's actually down 22.1%. However, year to date, it's increased 7.39%. Past month, it's, again, depending on when this video is rendered, it's almost 50% in the past month, which is astronomical to say the least. Last week, it increased from about 68%. It did dip a little bit down as well. Again, the roller coaster of stock market prices. So, again, Jesus Louise, almost $250 for a single share of stock. Now, that is astronomical. Now, they say that Goldman Sachs analysts lifted their price target for the stock, however, are keeping it at a neutral rating. Again, when it comes to stocks, most of these brokerage and analysts will actually give you a buy, sell, or neutral rating. So when it's neutral, that's where they're, as you could probably guess, it's meaning they're not recommended that you sell it or that you buy it. And other companies or analysts will just say it's a hold position, so you don't move too much. They say that investors are looking ahead to Tesla's earnings later this month, and as well as an event next month in which Elon Musk has said that Tesla will debut a robo-taxi, which, again, that would be revolutionary because, again, then you could turn your sunken cost of a car, which just loses money over time, with the exception of some, very, very niche high-end luxury cars that, not financial advice, but sometimes they do increase in value. But more often than not, cars just lose money over time. Now, if you can turn that into something where it actually works for you, where again, when you're not using it, it actually be rent, you could make money by having it be a taxi. That'd be a revolutionary idea. Granted, you also have to take into consideration cost of depreciation, the wear and tear on the vehicle, also just the the consumables such as the brake pads, the tires. So at the end of the day, I also debate how much profit people make when they're doing Uber and Lyft. In some instances, yes, but I think a lot of people forget to take those things into consideration. But Elon's persistently saying that they're going to come out with this robotaxi feature, and again, if they successfully do it, that would exponentially increase the company value. Because conceivably, conceivably they could take out, make Lyft and Uber off the map. Because again, there are a lot of Teslas out there. I'm not saying everyone's going to immediately want to turn their vehicle into that, but if they had an extra Tesla app, that could unlock a lot of potential value. You also have Elon saying they're going to prospectively go into more AI robotics, and they do have competitors. Mercedes is utilizing, I forget the name, but there's a company headquartered out of Austin where they basically have a humanoid robot that's starting to assemble vehicles. It's in the kind of a prototype phase at Mercedes. It's not every single employee in the factory, but that's being tested more and more and at larger and larger scales. So if Tesla could make that and keep that in the company, which Elon, now that he got his bonus that he was legally entitled to, he was hinting that he might spin off and do a different entity to make those things. Now that he's retained the ownership in the company and his bonus, now, excuse me, presumably Tesla will be the company also manufacturing those and putting research and development to that. So there's a lot of people saying maybe, this is going to unlock a lot of prospective value. And again, it's been increasing a lot. Now, here's a little actual visualization of the stock price. Again, went down the past couple days, but geez Louise. Yeah, past month has been insane. Wow. Now, they also say, quote, Tesla shares finished higher than for the 11th straight session, with Goldman Sachs analysts raising the price target. Let's see here. Wow, they really did. So it's not too much. It's just a little bit more than what it's currently trading for. So Goldman raised its Tesla price target from 175, which was a previous price that they think the company is worth, now to increasing to 248. Now, granted, this is not the highest it's ever been, but again, there's that a lot of speculation. So it'll be interesting to see what further value they're able to unlock at Tesla and what's going to happen. But usually this is why I never give financial advice, because in hindsight's always 2020, and who would have thought, again, with ever increasing competition, Tesla, and again, sales for most EVs are, again, it's not like they're going out of business. Well, some of them might, but they are decreasing. The highest growing category of car sales in the United States is hybrids, which I'm still not a fan of because I want a car that'll last, 10 to 20 to 30 years. Also, to me, every car should have 3 pedals, also known as a stick shift. No more fun in life than driving a car with a manual transmission, but nevertheless, there's more competition, a lot more hybrids being sold than EVs. EV adoption rate is decreasing, and yet Tesla still nearly doubled their stock price in a month, which is astronomically successful. Let me know, were you ever an investor in Tesla? Do you think, again, not financial advice, do you think it's going to go up and up and up, or do you think it's peaking right now? Let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the Culture Prod podcast, you have Caitlin Clark signing a multi-year deal with Wilson, which is their first big deal since Michael Jordan back in the day. Now, this actually flew under the radar since, well, it's part of the WNBA, so frankly, most people, including myself, don't pay attention to it. But I actually saw this on the X Twitter going a little. You have, this is actually from Front Office Sports, and they say, quote, news, Caitlin Clark has signed a multi-year partnership deal with Wilson. Clark will get a signature basketball collection with Wilson, making her the first athlete since Michael Jordan to do so with the brand. Now, this might be because they had so many years of gluttonous sales because of the good movie with Tom Hanks. Was it Castaway? One year stranded on an island where his best friend was a volleyball named Wilson. I think that brand recognition carried the company, their marketing department, for probably a couple of decades in terms of people buying those sports balls. Now, granted, this is a basketball, so it's slightly different. You have a picture here of Caitlin Clark holding a little basketball there. The nice, good old logo on her back that says AT&T. And it's probably one of those viral moments or posts in regards to WNBA news. Granted, of course, the bar is quite low, but this got 3.4 million views and 13,000 likes. Now, one of the first comments actually looks like they actually have pictures of the sports ball. They say, quote, Here's a first look at the Caitlin Clark Collector's Edition debut series featuring 3 limited edition basketballs. Or basketballs. I don't know. I don't watch it. Kidding. I know it's basketball, probably. Of course, they don't zoom in, but it looks like they have a silhouette of her doing one of those jump shots, throwing the ball into the hoop. Looks like they actually labeled them. Let me pull this up really quick. So the 3 basketballs are labeled Threes Up, paying homage to Caitlin's iconic celebration after draining a 3 from the deep. Draining. I thought this was basketball, not drinking alcohol. Or like changing oil in a car. Nevertheless, they were probably still basketball related. They also have the second edition going to be called the Record Breaker, which is acknowledging Caitlin's trailblazing achievements and the records which she shattered along the way. And they'll have the Crowd Mastero, which energizes crowds whenever Caitlin plays, home and away, which, yeah, the WNBA should be treating her darn near like royalty. The games where Caitlin Clark is playing, it's 2 to 3 times more people showing up than prior, which again shows the power that an individual athlete can have. I mean, a lot of people are making parallel comparisons to Tiger Woods and how he exploded the popularity in the sport of golf. And yeah, they look kind of like interesting basketballs. I'm not sure how much they're going to be going for, but yeah. And it says making history, or made for making history, Wilson. Which, yeah, if you were to ask me if Wilson made basketballs, I probably would have guessed volleyballs. I would not have guessed basketballs. I know as a kid, Spalding was a basketball manufacturer. Yeah, I think Wilson does golf maybe too. That was good marketing. I haven't thought about that brand since Tom Hanks was on that island with that little volleyball. And let's get some of the top comments. One of the first ones comes from John Elder, says, she's going to single-handedly save the WNBA. God bless Caitlin Clark. Let's hope she's not woke. Getting 105 likes, which, for the record, they're on track to lose about $80 million this year because of the business ineptitudes of the leaders there. Ironically, they are all about feminism, and yet their sugar daddy, the NBA, founded the company and has been subsidizing them for quite literally decades. Will they ever make a profit? That's a really good question. I don't know what the Las Vegas odds are. There are more people than ever tuning into the sport. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I'm just saying I wouldn't place money on it anytime soon. Let's see here. Going down more and more. Let's see here. Maybe positive. Jeffrey Carlton says, a deal with Wilson. Now you need to meet someone very special and it would be official. No others than Tom Hanks. That would make the best picture in sports history. Game 1 like. This also shows how unpopular the WNBA is on average. Like, we cover a lot of politics and business stuff on the show where we go into X Twitter, and yet these responses are getting between like 0 and 50 likes. Where in political stuff, maybe people are just more bombastic or energized about it. You'll get like thousands of likes for some of the responses. Another response from Brand Baby says, amazing, I still buy Wilson golf clubs because they were a brand who made Michael's custom set. Congrats, getting 2 likes. See here. Evan says, can you let her win 1 game first? Getting 9 likes. Let's see. Bobby says, amazing for her, getting 31 likes. Jelly Legit says, wow, I still remember when my Jordan ball rolled around on the freeway and exploded under the car. I cried. Sad, but got 3 likes. Let's see here. Wow, 26 likes for this comment? I'm not sure if it's spelled proper. Well, it's not spelled like anything. It's WRKMAN, so maybe Workman. Says that's a dude just saying, getting 26 likes. Little Humans Big Impact says, sad that some of her fellow WNBA players are hating, but she deserves the best is yet to come. Getting 91 likes. See here. The poll guy says, good for her, gotta make that money, getting 8 likes. I don't know what this means. Jenny Finding My Balance says, unbelievable that women now have to compete against men. How's this fair? Getting 8 likes. I'm guessing she's insinuating that Caitlin's a man? Penn State FB Thoughts says, game changer, getting 15 likes, which, I mean, for the Wilson basketballs, maybe? Again, this is the first time in decades I've thought of Wilson basketballs. I don't even know there's a thing. Now, let's see here. Any other interesting comments here? Oh, here's one. Got 137 likes. Nick Eber says, remember when everyone thought she should stay in school? 137 likes. Let's see. David Anderson simply says, good for her. She worked extremely hard to get where she is and deserves it. Unquote, getting 14 likes. Justin M says the rest of the WNBA will be mad in 3, 2, 1, getting 13 likes. I'll do one more. Mel711 says, well, she's my favorite player, so I'll buy one and her shoes when they come out, getting 127 likes. Which, that is quite a few to say the least. So let me know, do you think this actually revitalized the basketball business or division of Wilson? Which, again, I didn't even know was a thing. And do you think these brand endorsements will actually make a profit for those companies? That's another interesting question because sometimes, they'll sign these big deals with these athletes and not enough people actually buy the product and they end up losing money. Another thing to take into consideration. So, when's the last time you actually thought of Wilson basketballs? And do you think they'll make a profit with this player endorsement or this little contract with Caitlin? Let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Elon on the House voting yes to the SAFE Act, which would require proof of citizenship for citizens to actually vote. Now, this is brought to, of course, thanks to X Twitter. And Elon says, quote, there's a tiny chance that this will pass the Senate if a few Democrats cross the party line. But Biden said he would veto the bill even if it did. I wonder why. Which, yeah, in order to get a supermajority, I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon. Again, the House voted yes for this. 216 Republicans said yes, 5 Democrats said yes, while 198 Democrats said no, which I was actually surprised because usually Democrats are known for voting together and not breaking ranks, so to say. So the fact that 5 actually broke away, and granted they're probably in deep purple or more red states, still, that's kind of interesting. Now, it went pretty viral. Elon's post got 17 million views and 142,000 likes. One of the first comments comes from Cat Turd saying, quote, because Democrats would lose all 50 states if they didn't cheat, unquote, getting 16,000 likes. Now, we do have some fun contrarian statements as well, so we'll get to those in a second. You have Gunther Eagleman saying, quote, Joe Biden wants to cheat in 2024, getting 2.9 thousand likes. We have our favorite leftist, Luke Zaleski. Well, not really favorite, but he is very far left, and I want to follow as many people as possible so we don't have a boring echo chamber. Now, Luke's known for being his profile picture is a cartoon of him wearing a V-neck, which I don't know any respectable man that wear a V-neck like that. Maybe if you're on like a date with a wife and you've been married for like 10 years and you have like an at-home date, maybe the V-neck is appropriate. But as we all know, true men suit up. Now, Luke Zaleski says, quote, just a reminder to everyone, Elon is a right-wing media mogul with massive conflicts of interest in various fields that require government oversight and regulation, who's openly and not so openly utilizing his giant personal social media platform to serve his own political purposes. Mentally vacuous? Yes. However, 619 people did like that comment by Luke, and 222 responded, which is one of the most responded ones. Let's see here. One of the first person responding to Luke is Uncle Boise. Said, when did election integrity become a partisan issue? Getting 42 likes. Luke says, when Trump began lying and whining about the election, and he lost incited attack in Congress, blah, 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 getting 52 likes. Which, if you look at history, pretty much every election since Bush, has been contested by the other side. There's a recall in Florida that went viral years ago. And pretty much every time a Republican wins, Democrats say they cheated. And yes, non-Republicans are doing that too. A guy says, just a reminder, X is the only place we can debate this. Let that sink in, commie. Getting 45. Let's make that 46 likes. Political blasphemy memes. They didn't respond in meme form. However, they did say, Elon is not right-wing. He's just a normal person from 10 years ago. Getting 47 likes, which, yes, is true. Democrats have shifted the Overton window vastly. Let's see. Going back to the main comments, the persistence says, quote, it's clear to anyone watching that Democrats care more about illegal aliens than Americans. Democrats care more about power and votes than they do helping the U.S. The only way forward is to elect President Trump this November and give him a Republican House and Senate. That got 1.7 thousand likes. Greg Mariano says, it won't pass the Senate. The Democrats need illegals to vote. That got 2.6 thousand likes. Jeff Carlson says, the same Democrats who demanded vaccine passports are now fighting voter ID. If Democrats don't cheat, they don't win. Getting 5.2 thousand likes. Let's see. How many likes did that get? Not exactly a meme, but we'll read it. I meme, therefore I am, says, quote, look no further. It's an article by Pew Research Center by Ellen Patin and Mark Hugo, says, are unauthorized immigrants overwhelmingly Democrat? They say, quote, Latino immigrants who are not U.S. citizens or legal permanent residents quote, or parentheses, and therefore more likely unauthorized immigrants. Some 31% identify as Democrat and just 4% as Republican. They got 266 likes. Let's see. I'll Be Back has a picture of, well, Chuck Schumer, and he says there's no evidence of voter fraud. And then it's juxtapositioned with a picture of a gentleman putting up a poster board on the window so people can't see in, and says that we're trying to keep it that way. Gained 133 likes. Let's see. Any contrarian statements? I'll Be Back also has a picture of a Biden rally with like 12 people there during the pandemic. You got 81 million. It says 81 million. And you have a picture of a gravesite, a picture of flash drive says Biden's voters, getting 67 likes. Let's see here. I'll Be Back also has a picture of a kid asking a question in class. A kid asks, America has 133 million registered voters. How could 159 million votes be cast? And teacher says that's not important. What's important is that you're a racist. Unquote, getting 50 likes. Let's see. Not too many contrarian statements here. I'm looking more and more. What's this? Shafat Ali Khan says, I wonder why to wonder being Biden. This picture of Biden holding a cell phone, or it looks like a cell phone. He says, I'll try Biden's accent. Let's see. Oh, I've been calling you all day, man. And they have Obama saying, Joe that. Oh, I can't do Biden. Well, I can do Biden. Could I do Obama? Well, she's there. Joe, that's a calculator. Probably one of the worst accents you've heard all year, but the attempt was made. It got 307 likes. See here. Scrolling more and more. Vince Langman says the only way they could win if they cheat like hell, getting 345 likes. General TM says, quote, every American that is a voter in America should want a free and fair election. If you can't guarantee that, then you're allowing corruption, unquote, getting 1,000 likes. A contrarian statement, finally. Had to scroll a little bit. Cheedy says, stop trying to make fetch happen. There's already an existing law that clearly forbids non-citizens from voting in federal elections. There's no chance it'll even come up to the Senate. Got 892 likes. I think this also includes additional prosecutions or penalties, which there should be. I mean, if you're here voting illegally in a federal election, one would think you'd be arrested on the spot and deported. Although, granted, these days you'd probably be given a cell phone and a gift card and a key for an access code or a, we call it, what do they use at hotels? I think they still use those little key cards to stay at the Ritz-Carlton. Let's see. Mayor Listens responded to that comment saying, and yet they still do. The SAVE Act will make sure they can't. 172 likes. Let's see here. Pulling down more and more. BJ Van Grundy responded saying there's already an existing law that says those under the age of 21 can't own handguns. No laws additional laws are needed, right? Getting 76 likes. Going down to the main comment section. Western Lensman has a video of Biden. He says he wanted a surge at the border on day one for a reason.
I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. I would,
yeah. At least he suited up for that video. Got 337 likes. AKA says they're trying to steal an election, unquote, getting 561 likes. So overwhelming support of Elon in his take. Time shall tell to see if this actually does pass the Senate. I mean, I'm pretty skeptical to say the least in terms of, I don't know what the Las Vegas odds are in terms of that happening. But again, even if it passes the Senate, it's going to go to Joe Biden's desk and Jill Biden will probably just veto it. So the only way it could actually override the White House would be an overwhelming majority to be voted on again in the House and Senate. And that supermajority, I don't see a lot of people. I don't think the odds are high that they're going to actually cross the party lines to make that majority happen. But let me know in the comments, do you think that could actually potentially happen? And I mean, Biden said he would veto it, but if he actually got to his desk, do you think he or Joe Biden would? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, a Michigan governor signed a bill to prohibit election recounts due to allegations of fraud. Now, this is an actual thing. One would think, surely it's just a meme on the internet. It's not real. No, unfortunately, like many things in life, it is all too real. Now, again, it went viral on X Twitter. I'll read the substance of the actual article too. Now, in terms of on X Twitter, I mean, therefore I am, says Holy F. Michigan Governor Whitmer signed bills into law that prohibited election recounts conducted due to allegations of fraud. Democrats will stop at nothing to prevent election fraud from being exposed. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have given you a verbal warning, because especially if you're watching the show, it's they have a picture of her, and it's not flattering, to say the least. And that one probably got 3.5 million views and 40,000 likes. Now, before we get to the comments, I'll read some of the actual summary of it. This is from Democracy Docket by Courtney Cohn, who's a writer over there. And this is fun. Oh, ironic? Hypocritical? Whatever word you prefer. They say, quote, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed bills into law on Monday last week that will prohibit election recounts conducted due to allegations of fraud, and for some counts that do not impact election results. Whitmer said in a statement that this supports, I'm not sure if she's drunk or crazy, but again, it's a quote from her. It supports, quote, fair and free elections that make sure the winner can take office without unnecessary interference, unquote. Yeah, how about that? Now, again, this is Senate Bill 603, includes numerous provisions regulating election recounts. Notably, the law states a recount is not an investigation or an audit of the conduct of the election, and it is, quote, does not assess the qualifications of electors participating in the election or the manner in which ballots are applied for or issued to electors. Also, legislation does not allow an election board to investigate allegations of fraud. Instead, they must refer the matter to the prosecuting attorney of the county or the state attorney general. They also note that they're worried that, well, it's just frivolous. I mean, if it's a lot of these are just a small margin of errors, so does it really matter? Now they say, quote, in the analysis of the bill, the State House Committee on Elections explained that in the 2016 presidential race, Green Party candidate Jill Stein requested a recount of ballots in Michigan, even though she only received 1.0% of the vote, which, again, we waste a lot of money in the United States. Recounting votes, I'd be okay with that. And again, this is coming from someone who disdains most every government spending. And gave, what do we give, especially other countries you don't know on a map, again, Ukraine over $180 billion. Yeah, we can't spend $8 to $12 billion in the U.S. to build a southern border, or have gas in Michigan. They're making the state, making the argument of we can't waste money on that. And they say, quote, also in 2022, petitions were filed requesting recounts on two ballot proposals due to alleged voter fraud. Neither petition requested a recount of enough votes to impact the results, although many feel that these recounts were frivolous and they were required to be conducted because of the petitions that were filed legally. Which, again, it's one of those things where how would you know if the margin is that great unless you did a recount? Granted, there's always an inherent human error with the margin of error, but I mean, wouldn't it be better safe than sorry, especially with one of the few things, with something that so few Americans already distrust on the left and the right? It's just ridiculous. Wow. Now, of course, they're calling it common sense reforms like they all do. Now, let's go to the comments, though, see what the folks have to say. Well, let's see. Villina's Sprat said, I'm not a lawyer, but that sounds kind of illegal. Also, isn't she a ray of sunshine and getting 1.5 thousand likes? Becca says the cheating is out in the open and liberals don't even care. Getting 1.1 thousand likes. Rolling down more and more. Contrarian statement. Maybe? This person's name is Stop Seattle Dems 2024. Nevertheless, they say, quote, if just one of them feared God, just one, how did the party find so many that will never see heaven? Proverbs 9:10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of the wisdom. They say, quote, January, and it's a picture of January 6th. It says, January 6th will go down in history as the day that the government staged a riot to cover up the fact that they certified a fraudulent election. They have a picture of Ray Epps, which, yeah. It turns out there's a lot of government folks on there, and it's also interesting that the police just allowed people to enter the Capitol and they guided them as well. That got 743 likes. Rolling down more and more. Jonita Maga says, why in God's name would anyone wanting a fair election do this? I'm quoting 319 likes. Native Patriot says, quote, there are days like today where I'm convinced our country is fully lost and trying to mitigate the downfall is only extending the suffering of Lady Liberty. Getting 700 likes. Pro-American Politics says this is going to backfire when Trump wins Michigan, getting 659 likes, which Not all around possibilities. I mean, voting patterns are changing, but I mean, on average throughout history, Michigan is mostly blue, partially because of Detroit and the dystopian hellhole has become. Ironically, they keep voting the same way, but it's not all around possibility. Maybe. Let's see. Richard Carrier says, quote, the level of corruption in our government, our federal organizations, and our election process is so severely extensive and painfully obvious. The facts can no longer be denied, yet the external question remains, what are we, the legal citizens of America, going to do about it? And this picture of Teddy Roosevelt saying, quote, patriotism means to stand with the country does not mean to stand with the president. Got 151 likes. Scrolling down more and more. Theodore says, oh, look, it's a picture of Whitmer with, I think that's Source's son, getting 47 likes. See here. Any contrarian statements? Pretty much overwhelming against her. Granted, she signed off on it. Oh, that's kind of funny. Colorado Researcher is a picture of her in the bed. Oh, cover your ears if you have children listening, but it's an adult website. And it says, gross. There's a picture of her on the adult website. She's clothed, but it says gross slut F's in the whole state. And that got 301 likes. Oh. Now, the real question is, will more and more states adopt similar policies? Because again, that's not out of the realm of possibility. So let me know, do you think other states will follow suit and make it so you can't challenge elections or can't have recalls anymore? Let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Trump posting a viral video of George Clooney firing Joe Biden, which is even more hilarious when you consider George Clooney is a very much leftist. Now, this is brought to us thanks to End Wokeness on X Twitter. When she says, quote, Trump posted this last night on Truth. It's only about 19 seconds long, but definitely worth the listen.
So although I wish I were here with better news, the fact is that you and I are sitting here today because this will be your last week of employment. This is not an assessment of your productivity. You gotta try not to take this personally.
Well, I just had a bad night.
I got, what was it? 1.9 million views and 26,000 likes, which quite impressive to say the least. The first comment is coming from Paul Zupa saying, quote, President Trump will never stop being hilarious. He's more popular on X from Truth than Joe Biden is on X on X. Trump is the master troll. Sorry, Joe, you're fired. Getting 175 likes. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, President Trump is the GOAT, getting 315 likes. Let's see here. Mr. Murferl? I don't know how you pronounce his name. Moment says Trump just posted this on Truth. Is Trump and Biden just going upstairs of the Air Force One? And Trump is climbing upstairs as many one would, and Biden falls 1, 2, 3 times. Got 54 likes. Jaya says Trump, I don't know what he said, and I don't know what he said. It's a 20-second clip from the debate.
Move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history.
Yeah, that was one of the most viral moments. I got 71 likes. I can't believe Biden actually said this, but he did say this a couple weeks ago. Somebody by the name of I Love American News has picture of Biden, and the quote is, I'm healthy, it's just my brain. Getting 51 likes. Let's see. Hello, I'm Kelly Joe says Trump has a great sense of humor, getting 41 likes. Gerald TM says whoever made this is brilliant, getting 48 likes. Burt Macklin says, okay, this is actually funny, gave 15 likes. And let's see here. Well, apparently, allegedly George Clooney is not supporting Biden anymore? No. I got 34 likes, apparently. Let's see here. So, overwhelming support for Trump. Wow. Pete Truss, the general, has a picture of Biden. Of course, in a long sleeve shirt, Zelensky, who's the leader, or I was about to say the dictator, well, he did cancel elections unless the U.S. pays for it, and he did shut down churches and opposition party. But nevertheless, Zelensky in his long sleeve shirt, and it says 223 million per day since February 2022. Let that sink in, being 5 likes. And it is one of those things where the power of memes is important. And a lot, I mean, as funny as it sounds, memes and short clips are an effective way of communication. So I think it's not going to be an insignificant part of the 2024 election as more and more people are influenced, especially with the short clips on the TikTok and the Instagram and the Banana Falcon, where the apps are using these days. So good trolling from Trump, and I think you're going to see more and more of it because, again, there's a lot of material and the people love it, and it has a high odds of going viral. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, the Schruumz recall is now expanded with children, unfortunately, in the hospital. Now, this is brought to us thanks to CBS News, specifically Alexander Tin, who's a writer over there, saying, quote, multiple children hospitalized in diamond Schruumz poisoning as cases mount. Gave that a picture of their inept, disgusting product. Oh, there we go. And for those of the folks who are too innocent, like myself, we had no idea this product even existed. It's apparently a product for microdosing because life is too hard, so you have to be perpetually high all the time. Which reminds me of that Brave New World, which is a brilliant novel, second only to perhaps 1984 by George Orwell, but I partially digress. They say, quote, multiple children has been hospitalized after eating the now recalled Diamond Schruumz brands. Among more than 24 confirmed hospitalizations reported nationwide, linked to the so-called microdosing chocolates, cones, and gummies. They say that, quote, at least 58 illnesses has been reported across 27 states. The CDC says they expect it to grow. The agency did not disclose how many of the cases have been in children, though authorities have previously warned that the candy-like products could be appealing to children and teenagers. CDC spokesperson Rosa Norma said, quote, due to the range of limited information about the ongoing investigation, we're unable to share more ranges at this time. Now, another source said, quote, at least 2 children have been hospitalized in Arizona. A spokesperson for Banner Health System said in an email, 2 more children were exposed to the product, but deemed only mild cases. Now, it looks like Steve Dooley, who's the head of the Arizona Poison and Drug Information Center, said, quote, we've seen the same phenomenon in people eating the chocolate bar, then seizing, losing consciousness, and having to be incubated. So far, 1 death has also been investigated after consuming Diamond Schruumz products. A spokesperson for the North Dakota's health department said that the death of the adult who was not hospitalized before dying. Cases are continuing to grow nationwide, weeks after the FDA first warned of these poisoning. It looks like California-based Profit Premium Brands said it recalled all of its Diamond Schruumz products in June 27th. And going down more and more. Jeez Louise. Now, the FDA said that the testing of the Diamond Schruumz chocolates sampled from retail stores also turned up other ingredients in the products, such as, oh, geez Louise, good Scrabble word, can't pronounce it, desmethylhydrogen and cavein, derivatives of the psychoactive agave plant, and piscitilian, also known as synthetet. Jeez Louise, can't speak today. Again, another reminder to click the subscribe button. As more people subscribe, the better I've been able to speak. A little bit, some might argue just a little improvement, but improvement nevertheless. They also had ingredients that are known as synthetic Schruumz. Jeez Louise. So again, I'm not sure how kids are getting hold of this. Perhaps even just more inept or poor parenting these days, which is quite unfortunate, especially as you have more and more people having negative cases of this for a product that can't conceivably. Yeah, I don't understand people who consume it, but yeah, it's having even more recalls due to your product that is now it's even starting to affect children negatively. Gotta say, Diamond Schruumz, you are once again the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.